Hello, how are you doing?
And I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking. Always happy to chat. Let me know what else you're curious about.
Thank you so much. So today I want to talk about office parties.
Absolutely. Let's dive into it. Office parties are a fun topic. We can chat about what they're like, what to expect, or any specific details you want to know. Let me know what direction you want to take.
Oh, of course, thank you so much. So first of all, can you briefly describe what office parties are?
Of course. So, office parties are basically social events that a workplace hosts for employees. They can be for a bunch of different reasons, like celebrating holidays, marking a big T milestone, or just giving everyone a chance to relax and mingle in a more casual setting. Usually there's some food, sometimes drinks, and just a chance to chat with colleagues in a more laid back way than you would during normal work hours.
Oh, thank you so much. So, is it usual for American people to serve alcohol in the office party?
Yeah, definitely a common question. In the US, it's actually pretty typical for a lot of office parties to have some alcohol, especially if it's a holiday party or an end of year celebration. Of course, it varies by company culture and policies. Some places might keep it alcohol free, while others are more relaxed about it. But in general, yeah, it's not unusual to have a bit of wine or beer around at an office party in the US.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. So I heard from my French teacher that there are office party in France as well, so which is called import. And in that kind of situation, it's not really usual for them to have alcohol in the office party. And it's held basically for the farewell opportunity, and also see, for example, the situation where some big business milestone has been achieved or something like that. So it's a little bit different depending on the country. But I think having the office party is, of course, a great opportunity for the employees to communicate, also socialize. So I think it's great. And I think, but so with respect to alcohol, there may be many reasons for not having alcohol. So depending on individual, for example, religion or allergy sometimes. So there may be some preference depending on the individual. And I heard from my Muslim friend who was working for a UK based law firm, and he was working its branch office located in Dubai. And so at that moment he had lots of office party as well. But there were many people working over there. For example, people are coming from UK to just work there, and also people who was born and grew up in Muslim countries as well, and also other kind of people, Asian or something like that. And there was a great mix of people. And as you may know, for Muslim, alcohol is a bit of problem. I heard from my friends that it depends on individual really, even between the Muslim people. Some people, it's okay to have alcohol completely, but for some people it's not. For some people, it's not really great for them to have some other people having alcohol around him. It's really depend. It really depends. So then in that case, the office party really was some kind took the form really interesting, because they had some separate table where no alcohol is served, and so just food and some other drink without alcohol. And around those kind of table, Muslim people who has a strict idea about the alcohol. So for my friend, who was Muslim but still okay to have alcohol, he was enjoying communication with other people having alcohol at the party. It's really depends. So for me, personally, I don't really drink, because it's there are some reasons for that. I do some exercise, so definitely, so that maybe some of the reason, but it's not only reason. And I do also drive very often, and which I like as well. So I want to drive whenever I want. So so if I drink alcohol in the daytime or evening or so, then definitely I may have some problem if I drive in the night time. So I don't really do that basically. So um I think so. It's gonna be really important for us to give employees to have a choice when we have office party. Whether or not they will have alcohol or not. So we have to take care of their preference. So what do you think about what do you think we should do in taking care of those kind of preference of each individual?
Absolutely, that's a great point. And I love how you laid out all those different perspectives. It really does vary by culture and individual preferences, and it's so important for an employer to be mindful of that. So, what a lot of companies do, especially in multicultural or diverse environments, is exactly what you mentioned. They make sure there are both alcoholic and non alcoholic options, and they keep it clear that it's totally okay not to drink. Sometimes they'll have a dedicated alcohol free space, or just make sure that everyone knows it's a come as you are kind of vibe and that nobody is pressured to have a drink if they don't want to. In short, just being respectful and offering choices is key. That way, everyone can feel comfortable and included, whether they're having a soda, a mocktail, or a glass of wine.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so sometimes we do have some harassment issues so over some alcohol. So here in Japan, so which is called alcohol harassment, which is very interesting. So whereby some employees force other employees to drink alcohol. So and that's gonna be some litigation cases in some cases. But and so any so basically, so we are now currently trying to develop some culture where all of the people's preference is respected. So, so what do you think about the situation in the United States? Or is there any similar problem in the United States as well?
Yeah, that's a really good point, and it's definitely something that a lot of workplaces in the US are also aware of. There isn't necessarily a specific term like alcohol harassment that's used widely, but the concept is definitely recognized, and there's an increasing push for what's called inclusive or responsible hosting when it comes to office events. A lot of US companies are really careful now to make sure nobody feels pressured to drink, and if there's any kind of inappropriate pressure or if someone tries to force another person to drink, that's definitely seen as unacceptable. In some cases, it could even lead to HR issues or, like you said, potential legal concerns. So you're not alone in that. The culture is definitely shifting more and more toward making sure everyone feels comfortable and nobody's put on the spot. It's great that you're thinking about that balance because it's a really important part of a respectful workplace culture.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, so make sure everyone feels comfortable. So that's the key, I think. So as for the venue, so I think that's also a problem. Where we should have the office party. So it's not necessarily in the office place. So but so when we have the office party in the office, then definitely so there's gonna be a time for the preparation, and also we have to clean up the room afterwards, of course. And so it's gonna be a little difficult sometimes for us to have say some for example some glass to serve some drinks to all of the participants, so sometimes. And so but so in the case where we have the office party in a restaurant or hotel, so that's not going to be that difficult. So just reserving the restaurant or hotel and that's it. But there's going to be a cost associated with that. And also if the restaurant or hotel where the office party is held is a little bit far from the office workplace, then definitely so we have to think about how we should go to the venue, say for example taking a taxi or so metro or anything like that, or just walk or something. So that's gonna be also the point for the consideration. So and also the so preference of the people, so who's going to be joining. So for example, so allergies or religion or health conditions or something. So many things to consider. When it comes to the situation where we have people coming from all over the world, then that's going to be also the problem as well. What do you think we should keep in mind in choosing the venue for the office party?
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. Choosing the venue is definitely another piece of that puzzle, and there's a lot to consider. So I'd say a couple of key things to keep in mind are first, convenience and accessibility. You definitely want to pick a place that's easy for everyone to get to so people don't feel stressed about transportation. And if it's offsite at a restaurant or hotel, like you said, that can definitely make things a little easier in terms of setup and cleanup, but you do have to weigh the costs and also make sure it's a place that can accommodate any dietary needs or religious considerations. And then, like you said, just making sure the venue is flexible enough to respect everyone's preferences. If you have people from all over the world or with different backgrounds, just making sure that you're picking a place that's welcoming and that can offer a variety of options so everyone feels included. In the end, it's all about that balance of convenience, inclusivity, and just making sure everyone can enjoy themselves without feeling pressured. Sounds like you got a really thoughtful approach to it already.
Of course. What do you think about having some questionnaires before actually arranging the venue to get a sense of the preference of the people who's going to be joining?
I think that's a fantastic idea. Sending out a quick questionnaire or survey before you plan the venue is a really smart way to gauge everyone's preferences and needs. It makes people feel included in the decision making, and it also helps you avoid any guesswork. You can ask about dietary restrictions, whether people prefer a venue with non alcoholic options, how they feel about the location, all those details. And then you can plan something that really suits the majority and makes everyone feel considered. So, yeah, I think that's a really great approach.
Yeah, I do agree. And for food, I think so. For example, Japanese food is well known, globally well known, and for being very healthy or something. And lots of people like that. But for example, for some food, raw fish or sashimi or something, and I think sometimes people don't eat that. There's gonna be, of course, consider those points as well. My question here, how should we become detailed about the individual's preference? Because if there are so many people joining, then I think it's going to be very much difficult for us to have details of the preference of people who's going to be joining.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When you have a big group, it can definitely get tricky to account for every single detail of everyone's preferences. I think the best approach is kind of a balance. You won't necessarily be able to customize every single dish for every single person, but you can definitely aim for variety and flexibility. So maybe you get a general sense from the questionnaire about major dietary restrictions, like who can't have shellfish, who needs vegetarian options, who's not into raw fish, and then just make sure the menu has a little something for everyone. You can have a mix of the safe, familiar options alongside some of them for adventurous or traditional foods. That way, people who love trying new things can do that, and people who have specific preferences or restrictions still feel comfortable. In other words, you don't have to get every tiny detail perfect, but offering a good variety and making it clear that you've considered people's needs will go a long way. It sounds like you're on the right track just by being thoughtful about it.
Okay, thank you so much. I do agree. That's it for today's conversation. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I'm glad we could chat through all of that, and it was a lot of fun. If you ever want to brainstorm more or talk about anything else, just let me know. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye. Thank you.